Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in. We are going on a fascinating journey today to tackle one of the most mind-bending mysteries of your existence. Seriously, this one challenges the whole foundation of who you think you are. So, here it is. Where were you right before this very moment? More specifically, where were you before you were even born? That's the exact same question that haunted ancient sages for thousands of years. It's the puzzle that actually drove truth seekers like Nachiketa to literally confront the god of death. It's the whole inquiry that sparked the ancient Upanishads. Just think about it for a second. When the earth was already here, the sky was up there, time was ticking away, but your name, your physical body, your entire identity, none of that existed. So where were you? Were you just nothing? Or were you maybe in a form you've simply forgotten? Because let's be honest, there's a pretty glaring gap in our everyday experience. If I ask you about your past, you can probably easily remember your childhood, right? You picture familiar faces, old houses, events from years ago, but you have absolutely zero memory of your own beginning. You don't remember the exact moment you opened your eyes in this world, and you definitely don't remember the time before you were born. It is just a complete, total blank. But here's where we really need to start peeling back the layers of this thing. Ask yourself this: does a lack of memory actually mean a lack of existence? As humans, we kind of just naturally assume that if we don't remember being somewhere, well, we simply weren't there. We automatically equate forgetting with non-existence. But let's put that logic to the test for a second.
Just think about your own daily routine, and you'll see why that assumption is flawed. Tonight, when you fall into a deep sleep, you are going to completely black out for several hours. You'll have absolutely no memory of the night passing by. But when you wake up tomorrow morning, does that total lack of memory mean your existence was somehow erased or paused during those sleeping hours? Well, no, of course not. You were absolutely still there, even if you don't recall a single second of it.
So the crucial takeaway here, and this is something ancient philosophy, specifically Vedanta, teaches us, is that memory is tied exclusively to the mind. It is not tied to your underlying existence. Just because you have no recollection of an event doesn't negate your presence. Understanding this is absolutely vital. It is the first real key to unlocking the mystery of what was happening before your birth.
Now, let's look at our physical form. We all just assume our existence started the day our body was born. But science actually confirms what those ancient sages already knew. Our cells are constantly, completely replacing themselves. The physical body you had as a little kid, it's literally gone. It doesn't exist anymore. The youth's body eventually gives way to the older body. Physically speaking, you are not the person you were 10 years ago, which, might actually explain your sudden bad knees or that receding hairline.
And that brings us to a really fascinating question to chew on. If your physical body is constantly changing, if your thoughts change, and if your feelings are constantly fluctuating up and down, who is the I that says, I am still the same person? Who is that constant witness inside you claiming that the childhood body was yours and this present body is also yours? There is clearly a presence within you that remains completely unchanged through all these shifting phases of life.
To figure out who that unchanged witness really is, we turn to Advaita Vedanta. This is that profound ancient philosophical system championed by the great sage Adi Shankaracharya. Advaita Vedanta gives us this ultimate framework, stating that your true self, which they call the Atman, and the ultimate reality of the entire universe, the Brahman, are actually identical. And Shankaracharya uses this totally mind-expanding truth to answer our central mystery about birth. See, Shankaracharya explains that we make a massive mistake by identifying solely as our physical bodies. Imagine a wave rising up in the ocean. For a brief moment, it has a distinct shape, a separate identity, and we look at it and call it a wave. But that wave is just temporary, right? The ocean is the constant source. Your physical body is exactly like that temporary wave, appearing on the eternal ocean of consciousness, destined to rise up and eventually fall right back in. The ancient text of the Bhagavad Gita describes this exact process so beautifully. It says, as a person sheds worn-out garments and wears new ones, likewise, at the time of death, the soul casts off its worn-out body and enters a new one. The soul is literally just changing clothes. The conscious wearer of those clothes remains entirely unaffected by the tearing, the aging, or the discarding of the fabric itself. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now. It is the absolute classic skeptical counter-argument. If my soul existed before birth, if I've been wearing all these different physical clothes this whole time, why on earth don't I remember any of it? Where did all those past life memories go? Why is my mind a complete blank before the age of 2 or 3? Well, remember what we established earlier. Memory is a function of the physical mind. Think of memories like the creases and wrinkles on a pile of old clothes. When you take off a worn-out shirt, the wrinkles stay right there with the fabric. They don't magically attach to your skin. When the soul changes bodies, the physical mind and all its specific memories are simply left behind with the old body. The soul just acts as this silent, eternal witness, moving forward completely unburdened.
But we need to go even deeper than that. Let's peel back another layer by totally challenging the very premise of our opening question. When you ask, "Where was I before birth?" you're automatically assuming that your soul exists within physical space in a linear timeline. You're looking for a specific location on a map or a definite point on a clock. And a common dream perfectly exposes why looking for a physical location is a complete trap. Think about it. In a dream, you might see these massive mountains, flowing rivers. You might interact with all sorts of people over what feels like days or even years. It feels incredibly real and expansive. But when you wake up, where was that entire world located? It wasn't in a physical room. That massive environment and timeline existed entirely within the dreamer's mind.
So get ready for a truly mind-bending realization. Advaita Vedanta says that consciousness does not live inside space and time. Actually, scratch that, it's the other way around. Space and time are experienced inside consciousness. You were never physically located anywhere before you were born because you don't exist inside the universe. The entire experience of the universe is happening right now within your vast awareness.
So how should we view our current lives based on this? Compare our existence to an actor on a stage, playing a king. The actor fully commits to the role, right? He speaks like a king, walks like a king, makes grand decisions like a king. But internally, he never forgets his true identity. He knows perfectly well that once the curtain falls, he is not actually the character he was playing. But what happens if the actor actually forgets he's just an actor? That right there is the root of our human problem. By identifying only as your physical body and the temporary role you're currently playing, you create all this fear. Fear of disease, aging, death. Pretty much all human suffering, all that existential dread we feel, stems from this powerful illusion that we are exclusively the temporary characters we're playing on this earthly stage.
Which brings us to Shankaracharya's ultimate conclusion, a conclusion that fundamentally alters how we view existence. The body was born, yes, but you were not. Think about a sunrise. The sun doesn't suddenly pop into existence at dawn from nothing. It was always there in space. It merely reveals itself to our specific horizon. In the exact same way, at birth, consciousness is merely manifesting through a new physical body. You weren't created from nothing. Now, a very logical question pops up here. You're probably asking yourself this right now. If we are already this eternal, perfect, unchanging consciousness, what is the point of all this? What's the purpose of this human life, with all its struggles, annoying jobs, and daily routines, if everything is basically already resolved on a spiritual level? So the crucial point is this. The goal of human life is not to become something new or to achieve some undiscovered spiritual state. The goal is simply to wake up from the illusion. According to these ancient sages, only humans have the self-awareness and intellectual capacity to actually stop and ask, wait, who am I? Where did I come from? Animals live, sure, but they don't sit around pondering their existence. This human life is an incredibly rare, precious opportunity to reflect, investigate your true nature, and consciously break free from the dream. It's a beautiful paradox, honestly. Asking where you were before birth is exactly like a fish in the ocean frantically swimming around asking where the water is. We are constantly searching outward for a physical location, looking for some historical beginning, trying to find the very truth that is currently surrounding, sustaining, and literally making up our entire existence at this exact second. So let's summarize the core takeaway of this explainer. The real goal here is to shift your entire perspective. You did not come into this world from somewhere else. You are eternal consciousness. You are the silent, unchanging witness, just temporarily experiencing itself as a localized physical body for a short little while. Your true nature never began, and because of that, it can never, ever end. Which leaves us with one final perspective-shifting question to end on today. As you go about your day, look at your hands, look at the people around you, look at your whole life, and seriously ask yourself this. Are you a physical body that just happens to have a soul trapped inside it? Or are you a boundless, eternal soul temporarily experiencing what it's like to have a physical body? Because the answer to that question changes absolutely everything. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking those big questions.